A boyfriend hides his plans to surprise his girlfriend, but she thinks he's cheating and spirals with jealousy. The week before Marin's birthday, everything changed. Her boyfriend Leo, once warm and transparent, became distant and distracted. He stopped answering her texts promptly, laughed nervously when asked where he was going, and guarded his phone like a state secret. Marin's heart began to twitch with unease. At first she dismissed it. Everyone gets a little busy sometimes. But the silence stretched. The tension settled in her chest like a storm cloud waiting to burst. What Leo didn't know was that Marin had been cheated on before. Subtle changes, missed calls, random errands, quiet stares were once red flags that turned into heartbreak. Now those same patterns were surfacing again. Every unexplained glance, every half-hearted excuse ignited a familiar fear. Leo, meanwhile, was trying to orchestrate the biggest birthday surprise of Marin's life. He wanted every detail to be flawless. Her favorite rooftop, her childhood friends secretly flying in, a string quartet, even a rare book she'd once cried over in a second-hand shop. But in his pursuit of secrecy, he forgot the one thing Marin needed most: reassurance. The silence between them wasn't innocent anymore. It was the beginning of something dangerous. Leo began disappearing during odd hours. One day he claimed he had to work late but was spotted at a boutique hotel lobby by Marin's friend. Another time he pretended to be homesick, but his phone's location pinged across town. Marin's doubt twisted into anxiety. The Leo she knew wouldn't lie, but the Leo now, she wasn't sure. She confided in her best friend Isla, who had always been skeptical of Leo's charm. Men don't just change for no reason, Isla warned. He's hiding something. That sentence clung to Marin's thoughts like a burr. Leo was in fact hiding something, but it wasn't what she imagined. He'd rented a suite for the surprise party, coordinated flights for her parents who lived overseas, and even commissioned a local artist to paint her favorite photograph of them. Everything had to stay hidden to preserve the effect. But his half-truths, even when well-intentioned, built a wall between them. A wall Marin was now scaling, brick by painful brick, in search of a truth that didn't exist. And every move Leo made to protect the secret only added more proof in Marin's mind that he was betraying her. Marin began to spiral. Her heart didn't trust her head anymore. Logic and love were in a screaming match, and jealousy was winning. She checked Leo's social media obsessively, searching for unfamiliar names. She looked at his call logs when he was asleep. She started following him in secret, telling herself it was just to clear her own doubts. One afternoon, she caught him leaving a flower shop holding 2 bouquets, one red roses, one white lilies. She watched from behind a parked car as he handed the lilies to a woman she didn't recognize. The woman hugged him. Marin's world tilted, her knees buckled. 1,000 angry thoughts swarmed her at once. Was this woman the reason for his distance? Was she the one he laughed with when he said he was tired? But what Marin didn't know was that the woman was an event planner Leo had hired for the birthday party. The flowers were centerpieces for the rooftop surprise. The hug, a thank you for her help. To Marin, though, it looked like confirmation. And with that one misinterpreted moment, the seeds of trust that had held their relationship together began to rot. Every inch of Marin's body screamed to confront him. She rehearsed it in her head a dozen times, accusations, tears, throwing a pillow at his feet and demanding truth. But she couldn't bring herself to do it. Instead, she played a dangerous game, pretending nothing was wrong while carefully gathering evidence. She needed more messages, more signs. She feared confronting him too early might let him wriggle out of it with charm. Leo noticed the change. Marin smiled with her mouth, not her eyes. She laughed a beat late. Her touches were colder, her kisses quicker. He chalked it up to stress. Maybe she suspects the surprise, he thought. Maybe she's playing along. He couldn't have been more wrong. And Marin, she didn't want to ruin what might still be salvageable. Some small corner of her heart still whispered, "What if you're wrong?" But every day that whisper got softer. Marin created a fake social media account under a false name. She added Leo, watched who he interacted with, and even sent him a flirtatious message to see if he'd take the bait. He didn't reply. That gave her a flicker of hope. But it also infuriated her, because if he wasn't flirting online, it meant his betrayal was real and physical. Her mind created timelines. He said he was at work here, but his Instagram showed a different outfit. Was he with her? Every innocuous detail became a clue. She even began recording their phone calls. Leo remained clueless, buried in event planning. His stress level was through the roof. Half the vendors were late, the quartet canceled, and her parents' flight was delayed. He thought he was holding together a beautiful gift. Marin thought he was holding together a web of lies. Marin couldn't sleep. Every night she lay beside Leo while doubt gnawed at her insides. She'd watch him breathe peacefully, then suddenly imagine him whispering sweet nothings into someone else's ear. Her imagination had become her worst enemy. The darkness made everything louder. His sighs, the vibration of his phone, even the echo of his footsteps in the hallway. One night, Leo got up to take a call. He stepped outside, not wanting to wake her. But Maren was already wide awake, and when she peeked through the blinds she saw him smiling, gesturing wildly, whispering. It wasn't the conversation of a man closing a business deal. She couldn't hear the words, but her mind filled them in. Love secret, her, not Maren. What Leo was actually saying was, no, don't arrive too early. Keep her away until 6:45. The fireworks need to cue after the first toast. But the truth doesn't matter when your heart is already breaking. Maren turned away from the window, her eyes swimming with tears. She didn't know what was real anymore, only that whatever it was, it hurt. And now, more than ever, she needed a plan of her own. Maren decided to test Leo. She told him she had to visit her aunt for 2 days, a last-minute family emergency. It was a lie, but a necessary one, she reasoned. If he truly was cheating, he'd take the opportunity. Leo, though surprised, didn't question it. Take whatever time you need, he said with a warm smile, even helping her pack. Maren left in the morning, kissed him on the cheek and drove a few blocks away, only to double back and rent a room at a cheap motel under a different name. From there, she could watch his movements undetected. The first night, Leo didn't leave the house. The second day, however, he dressed nicely and took a long drive to the outskirts of the city. Maren followed him, keeping a careful distance. He stopped at an upscale event space. A woman greeted him with a hug. The same woman from the flower shop. And now Maren had proof. She snapped photos, zoomed in on the hug, on Leo's bright smile. Each picture pierced her heart. She didn't wait to see him leave. She drove off in tears, believing the worst. Back at the motel, she deleted every picture of them together off her phone. Inside the event space, Leo was orchestrating final details. The rooftop terrace was being transformed with candlelit arches, lanterns, and Maren's favorite violet-themed decor. The woman with the lilies, Riley, the event planner, checked things off her clipboard while Leo nervously paced. "Are you sure she doesn't suspect anything?" Riley asked. Leo smiled, unaware of the devastating irony. "No idea, but if she does, she's doing a damn good job pretending." He rehearsed the surprise in his mind a dozen times. Maren would walk up the steps, see the people she hadn't seen in years, the petals beneath her feet, the custom painting on the easel, the sparkler-lit cake, and then a soft melody would cue. He would give a small speech, then present a small velvet box with a promise, though not yet a ring. It was going to be perfect, or so he thought, because what he didn't know was that while he was polishing this dream, Maren had decided to confront him the moment she returned, and her heart wasn't returning open, it was returning armed. The day before her birthday, Maren returned home early. Leo wasn't there. She walked around the apartment, everything feeling colder than before. Even the framed photos on the wall looked like lies now. She checked his closet. One of his jackets was missing. His cologne had been used recently. The sign screamed that he was out with her. What Maren didn't know was that Leo was at the airport picking up her parents. They had flown in a day late and were exhausted but thrilled. Leo had even prepared a little welcome gift for them. Her father's favorite bourbon and her mother's cherished lemon cookies. While Leo was trying to make sure everything felt magical, Maren was texting Isla with fury in her thumbs. "He's definitely cheating. I saw them hug again. She's got a clipboard and everything, probably scheduling sleepovers." Isla, feeding the fire, responded quickly. "Girl, I knew it. You need to call him out before he turns it around on you." Maren didn't need more convincing. She already had a note drafted. A long message detailing all the ways he had betrayed her, without ever giving him the chance to explain. She just hadn't pressed send, not yet. Later that night, Leo returned home, carrying a box of carefully wrapped decorations. He was humming to himself. Maren, silent as a statue, sat at the dining table in the dark. Her eyes followed him like a shadow. Leo didn't see her at first. When he flicked on the light and noticed her, he jumped slightly. "Hey, you're home early." Her stare was unreadable. "You didn't tell me you were going out," she said flatly. "I went to pick something up for work," he lied instinctively, keeping the surprise alive. Maren nodded. "Did you pick it up alone?" The question hung in the air like poison. Leo's throat tightened. "Yeah, just me." A lie again, but to protect the plan. To Maren it confirmed everything. She stood up slowly and left the room without a word. Leo, stunned by the shift, assumed she was tired. He didn't realize that she had already set an alarm for 6 a.m. and planned to leave the apartment for good right after sunrise. The party would go on, but she wouldn't be there to see it. Maren couldn't sleep. not because she was conflicted, but because she was ready. She'd decided. There would be no confrontation, no tears, no screams, just distance. She packed a small suitcase with essentials, clothes, chargers, a single-framed photo of her and her late grandmother. Not one picture of Leo made it into her bag. At 6 a.m. sharp she left her key on the counter and quietly closed the door. No note, no explanation. Just absence. Leo was still asleep, snoring gently, dreaming of tomorrow's surprise. By the time the sun rose, Maren had booked a week-long stay in a beach cottage 3 towns over, far from the noise, far from her crumbling trust. She left her phone on airplane mode. Her mind was made up. Leo would discover the empty apartment, read her silence, and maybe feel what it was like to be abandoned without reason. It was the only justice she could give herself, and in her mind it was already too late for anything else. The day had finally arrived. Leo stood on the rooftop terrace, dressed in a navy blazer and a nervous smile. Friends were trickling in, her parents were already seated, and the jazz quartet had shown up after all. The view was breathtaking. Fairy lights glowed like fireflies, and the city skyline was bathed in gold from the setting sun. All that was missing was her. He glanced at his watch. 6:30. Maren was supposed to be there at 6:15. Riley was trying to stall for time, keeping the guests entertained with champagne and soft music. Leo texted her. No reply. He called. Straight to voicemail. Worry began to press into his chest like a lead weight. "Maybe she's stuck in traffic," her mother said gently. "You know Maren, she always underestimates time." But Leo knew something wasn't right. He called again. Then again, nothing. She wasn't coming. And he didn't understand why, not yet. By 7 p.m. the party was unraveling. The guests were growing uneasy. The surprises, her old art teacher, her favorite indie band for a quick acoustic set, stood waiting. Leo tried to keep smiling, to keep moving, but his mind was running laps. He asked her friends if they'd heard from her. Isla said no, but her voice was too calm. Was there a fight? Someone whispered. Did she cancel last minute? He checked his apartment. Empty. Her clothes were gone, her drawers cleared. His heart pounded. He called Isla privately. "Do you know anything? Anything at all?" There was a pause. Too long. Then, "Maybe she thought you were cheating." Leo blinked. "What?" "She saw you with that woman, the one with the flowers. She followed you, Leo. She thought you were being unfaithful." Leo's mind cracked. The party, the lies, the secrecy, all the pieces he'd so carefully arranged had become the blade she cut herself on. The rooftop emptied out quietly. One by one, guests left with polite smiles and murmured apologies. The violinist packed up. The lanterns flickered. Leo stood alone, staring at the table set for two. A ring box sat beside a melted dessert. The portrait of them together leaned against the wall, unfinished and unclaimed. He didn't cry, not yet. Instead he went home, hoping maybe, just maybe, she would be there. But the lights were off. Her scent lingered faintly on the pillows. He sat on the edge of the bed, replaying every moment he had hidden things from her. "I should have told her something," he muttered. "Anything." But now the silence he'd created had become permanent. He left the ring box unopened on the nightstand and didn't sleep. At the beach cottage, Maren sipped lukewarm coffee and stared at the waves. She had no idea about the rooftop, no idea about the guests, no idea about the painting, the speeches, or her parents' flight. But slowly, her emotions began to unravel. Why had he never denied her accusations? Why hadn't he fought for her? Was she really so easy to replace? The silence that once felt justified now echoed with doubt. She finally turned on her phone. 42 missed calls, dozens of messages, one from her mother. "Maren, please call. I don't know what happened, but Leo went to so much trouble. He just wanted to surprise you." Her hands trembled. She opened the photo her mother attached. Leo, standing beneath the arch of flowers, her friends, her parents, her old guitar teacher, and a caption, "Happy birthday, Maren, we love you." The moment was unbearable. The truth hit her harder than any betrayal ever could. She had been wrong, so wrong. She buried her face in her hands and sobbed into her knees. The lies she thought he told were hers. She imagined him standing there waiting, smiling, only to be met with absence. How many people had she ghosted because of her assumptions? How many memories had she burned without giving him a voice? She had protected herself so fiercely that she'd destroyed the one thing worth protecting, love. Now it was too late, or was it? With shaking fingers, Maren dialed Leo's number. She didn't expect him to answer, but he did. "Maren," his voice cracked. She could barely speak. I didn't know, Leo. I thought, I know what you thought." Silence. "I ruined it," she whispered. "I ruined everything," he exhaled. "Not everything, but you hurt me." "I know." He paused again. "Come home." She didn't move. "Do you still want me to?" "I don't want anyone else." Tears blurred her vision again. "I'll come back," she said, and she did. They didn't run into each other's arms. There was no dramatic kiss in the rain. When Maren returned, they sat across from each other in silence. Then slowly they talked, really talked. She apologized without excuses. He explained without resentment. They unpacked every moment of miscommunication, every silence, every intention, every fear. Leo understood now, Marin's trauma, her instincts, her defense mechanisms. Marin understood. Leo's need for surprise, his burden to create magic without giving away the trick. They didn't solve everything in a day, but they started, and sometimes that's all love really asks of us. A week later, they revisited the rooftop together. It was empty now, quiet, but Leo had kept the lanterns. He turned them on one by one, then pulled out the velvet box he had never opened. "I didn't know if I'd ever get to do this," he said softly. "It's not a proposal," he added quickly. "It's a promise." Inside was a silver necklace engraved with one word, truth. Marin touched it like it might disappear. "I'm ready to earn your trust back," she said. He smiled. "Let's build it together." In the end, the biggest surprise wasn't the party. It was what they learned about each other, and themselves. They discovered that love isn't just the joy and flowers and music and sunsets. It's the endurance through missteps, the willingness to listen when you're hurt, the courage to rebuild what's broken. Trust had shattered, but in its place something stronger was forming, truth. And while birthdays come and go, some lessons are worth a lifetime. If you enjoyed this emotional roller coaster, don't forget to subscribe for more stories that twist, turn, and tug at your heartstrings. Your next favorite tale is just a click away.